So in this tutorial, I'm first going to tell you about the geospatial visualization, because you can see from tutorial 1, we have plotted like contour lines, fielded contours, but we don't have an map overlay under the contour plots. Like it don't have any meaning if we don't add some geospatial information into the plot. So it is important to add something like a coastline or country boundaries to the plot so that we recognize which places we are plotting. So to plot the contour, to plot the maps in our plot, we need to introduce a package called cartopy. This is a package really designed for geospatial data processing and plotting coastline and geospatial features into our plots. So these are so this is the main library that you want to import. And this is just a library for you to add some more map features to it. We will introduce it in later sessions. But just remind you that this is really the main thing. Okay, this is the main thing. So first of all, if we want to add a map into our plot, we first need to define the projection of our plot first. So for example, this is the plate carry. I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry. This is the projection for a really standard rectangular map. So here you want to first define the projection of your axis so that the cartopy can recognize which projection to plot in your axis. Then to add this coastline here, you just call a dot coastlines function to this axis object. So this is how we make a base map in cartopy. And here, after we add the coastline this is basically the same lines here. We can always set the portion of the map to visualize. For example, here, I only visualize this section of the map. So you define, you first call a set extend function to this axis object. Then you define the longitude range here and the latitude range here. Define the range of the plots that you want to visualize. And of course, you need to tell the function that you are using this projection so that you don't use the wrong projection to set the extent. And in cartopy, they support different resolution of coastline. So for example, there are 3 default scales of coastline in cartopy. So these are 1/, this M is million, it's like 110 million, 1/110 million scale, and this is like 1/50 million. Sorry, this is really confusing because this little m we usually call this meter, right? But this is million. So you can see very clearly the scales are different. The resolution are different here. The coastline is like 2 very coarse. And for this one, the 10N scale, the coastline will be much finer and much more detailed. But of course, it needs much more resources to generate a coastline with resolution like this. So you need to consider the need of yours. Like if you're only plotting like global plots, well, you may not need these finer details in your map, right? So okay. So cartopy, you can also add grid lines to your plot, like the latitude and longitude grid lines. So here I add a coastline in my plot, and then I call the grid lines function to the axis object. So I can now generate a plot like this. You can see the latitude and longitude axis here. And I also call a parameter called the draw labels equals to true. It helps you to draw the labels, the longitude and latitude variables around the axis, the text of the axis. And you can see here, it generates a shapely deprecation warning for this line of code because this is because there are some changes in the code of cartopy, and it will no longer use some features in Shapely. So it generates a warning to you that, oh, you need to abandon, maybe change the codes a bit in the future. That's just a friendly reminder to you. Well, it may be a little bit annoying to always show warning like this. So here I want to show you a method to make the code filter the warning by itself. So you first need to import the warnings. This is a library, and here you import the Shapely deprecation warning from the Shapely errors. So you just filter the warning, and by stating that you want to ignore this warning. So this is it. Now in the later cells, we don't encounter this warning again. We will not encounter this warning again. And then here, we have introduced this grid lines function, right? So you can, of course, always add some more attributes to customize the grid lines. For example, this is a grid lines function. I assign this to a GL variable. And you can see here, I add some more parameters to change my grid lines. And here, let me just show you the plot. So here I manually define that I don't want the labels to appear on the top of the map or at the right of the map. So I just make these lines to make them disappear, make the labels disappear. And I also don't want to draw the lines in the x-axis, the longitude lines. So I also make it false like this. And here because in default, it generates the labels like this. Like you can see the latitude labels is like from 60 and 30 and then 0. Maybe I want to change it a bit, like this is like the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, right? I just want to make lines in these latitudes. So I manually define it here. And these are the style of the label. You can also define the label style here.